What's cracking, guys? Welcome back to the Minecraft Let's Play series, or Hocus Plays Minecraft as we call it here on the Hocus Pocus channel. How you doing today? I'm doing pretty good. This is episode 16, and in the last one we basically came over here to the sugarcane farm, which I'm stood right beside at the moment, and we did a bunch of design work. Let me actually go over there. We did some work on the collection mechanism, which is just behind the farm here, and you can see it doesn't look very good at all, but we're working on it. Don't worry, we're working on it. Between episodes, I have done a bunch of work. You guys will already recognize that if you were here for episode 15, that is. And we continued this design that we've got going on. And another thing that you might not notice immediately is that we've actually expanded the gap between the walkway and the farm by 2 blocks. So instead of being 3 blocks wide, it's now 5 blocks wide. And I think that was for the best. Also, we've somehow got another wandering trader. He just seems to show up here all the time. I have no idea why. Anyway, that's pretty much all the changes we've made. We finished the wall up the entire way around the farm as well. And I just wanted you guys to share this view of the farm with me. So from over here, atop this tree, doesn't have to be this tree, it can be any tree. I think it looks pretty cool, right? And it's always good to gauge builds from a distance because they can often look very different to if you're stood right next to them. And I think this one's doing pretty good from a distance. So at the moment, I've got no complaints. Okay, so first item on the list for today, I just quickly want to check what we've got in terms of shulker boxes. Now, I know we've got these 2 that are kind of occupied already, but I'm thinking we could probably just go ahead and dump most of this stuff out. Right into the shulker box chest. Looks like a good place, because I want to spend a little bit of time here. You might call this wasting time. The fact that we're actually doing it during an episode. I want to transport a few items from around the world back to our base. So we, of course, have the mob farm now. We have the Haste 2 mine. And both of those areas of our world are producing a good amount of items. First pit stop is going to be the Haste 2 mine, as I mentioned. And I'm thinking that we're probably in a position here where we won't do too much more mining in this area. And the next step will be to move the beacon elsewhere. I've kind of forgotten which chest the goods are in. Nope. I will take those, though. I didn't realize I had 15 slime balls down here. I'll probably take that as well, because wood is something I'm always using. Here it is, guys. So this is everything I've pulled out of this mine. I don't know if I've showcased this before. I think I might have showcased it at a certain point, but maybe not at this point. But I'm going to chuck all of this into our shulker boxes, get that back to the base. Just finishing up the processing and storing of the items from the Haste 2 mine, I'll give you a quick overview of our situation, because I mentioned that we were down to, I think, our last 2 stacks of blocks of iron, and we've managed to bring that number up quite significantly since then. Diamonds, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to use them, but they're there. Coal, we're just going overboard on. Redstone's good. Lapis is, again, something we're never going to run out of. Gold is okay, and emeralds, once again, can be easily farmed in the future. So that's pretty cool. I've also got these 2 slime blocks. That's a result of bringing back those 15 slime balls from the Haste mine. And with one of those slime blocks, we didn't actually need both of them. We're going to finish up our flying machine here, so that will require one of you guys, and we should be good on both sides now, I think. Yep, looks good to me. And then the final part of our fooling around for today will be to take back some of the mob drops from the mob farm here. So I'm going to be prioritizing items that I think are useful. So that'll be gunpowder, bones, and probably string. So any of those 3 guys I will prioritize over the other drops. And then once again, we'll just take all of that back to base and store it away. And then we will be moving on to the bulk of today's episode, or part of the bulk of today's episode, depending on how long it takes. And that will be assembling ourselves some proper storage at the zombie XP farm. So I mentioned in a previous episode that we were going to be looking to put a silo for the rotten flesh in, and also a miscellaneous storage for our armor pieces and such. So that'll be something we're looking into today, as I say. But first of all, let's make sure we just bring back a bunch of this good stuff to the base and get it stored away. And now we're finally finishing up with the mob drop transportation. One more to go, and that's the spider eyes. Yep, I was wondering whether or not we had a chest for them, but it seems we do. Now let's have a quick overview of what we've got going on here. So rotten flesh, fairly useless. I was going to say useful, but it definitely is fairly useless. Aside from trading, of course, we've got that villager over at the zombie farm. Gunpowder, very useful for rockets. I'll never, ever have enough rockets. String, again, quite useful for things like dispensers and tripwires if we ever begin to use those things. Dispensers, of course, we will eventually. And you sold the spider eyes. The bones are good for bone meal, of course. That's an obvious one. And then arrows, which you saw earlier as well. We may or may not use the arrows, but either way, we'll keep them stored here and do our bit to collect them up. Also, I checked in with Fluffy. He says he's doing good. He said he told me to tell you guys hi. I know it's been a few episodes, but I'm here, I'm doing well, and yes, I am still the best boy in the world. So I thought I'd just send the message across from Fluffy. Okay, now we're done with fooling around for the episode. Let's get these shulker boxes tucked away where they belong. And as I say, we're going to head down to the zombie farm, see what we can do about about implementing some storage solutions over there. Alright then guys, we're over here at the zombie farm and I've got myself a box of goodies ready to go. So we're going to do a bit of redstone work here to get our storage system up and running. Now, I've got to be totally honest, right? I don't really know if there is much, well, there is point, right? Because I want every build to be finished in this world, but I don't know if there's much point in putting that much more effort into this room. Because I think sooner rather than later, this is going to be an outdated system that doesn't produce enough XP for us. And we're going to probably move on to something bigger and better. But for the sake of consistency and keeping everything in our world up to date and finished and polished, which is the way you should conduct your world, right, Hocus? Don't leave projects unfinished. We know how it's supposed to go. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So let's kind of map out exactly where we want things to be. So I'm going to aim for maybe like a 3 wide gap in the middle of the room that will be here. Then we will have ourselves the silo storage system right there. So that'll be a 3 wide storage system. And then we'll have our 3 wide gap. I'm going to kind of mark that out like that so I can see where it is visually. And then on this side of the room, we'll have ourselves just a bulk storage area. So let's kind of figure out what we've got going on. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay, that isn't ideal. That's kind of that is kind of a little bit too wide. We're gonna have to improvise, I think. So let's actually use a 4 wide silo style. Something I don't ever do because the 3 wide I think is much cleaner. But here we're gonna have to work with even numbers. So I'm gonna go with a 4 wide silo on the right hand side here. And then on the left-hand side, we'll again go with a 4 wide area, which is in the middle of the 6 blocks to the left-hand side of the center of the room. But this one, as I say, is just going to be a miscellaneous storage. It isn't going to have filters or anything. This is just going to be where everything that isn't a piece of rotten flesh will go to live out the rest of its days, pretty much. So left-hand side will be bulk storage. Right-hand side will be silo storage. But as I say, we're going to have to kind of improvise here and figure out a way to have a 4 wide silo. Because, as I say, generally, they're 3 blocks wide. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. Let's get this party started. So underneath the central hopper, I've got another hopper. And if we head in behind all of the redstone works here, you can see that that leads out into a chain here. This chain is going to go into our dropper. And we're going to be using a similar setup to the sugarcane farm. So you guys pretty much know how this works already. We're going to use a double observer method to power the dropper continuously. So what we'll have is we're actually going to need a bunch of stone bricks to put this work on. You should always put your redstone on a different kind of block, guys. I know I always say that, but it really is a great tip. Just to make sure that if you're digging around the area, you don't go destroying your stuff. So what we'll do is we will have, yep, this is going to work perfectly. So we have comparator into repeater. That is going to go into redstone, power this block. That block is going to power a piston, which is alongside it. The piston will push an observer to connect to a separate observer that we have. I might have to reposition myself to place this. It's going to be very difficult because we're working in limited space here. So what I'm going to do is maybe do something like that. Nope, that isn't going to work, of course. We're too high up. Here, let's figure out how I'm going to do this. What we might have to do is actually break out a little bit more of the structure here. So let's go like that, and then we can get our... Yep, that works. And then we will go ahead and... let's break another block or two. Get out, and then we'll replace everything that we had in there. So firstly, we need our piston back. That is going to be facing that way. Crimson planks in like so, and then above that we had stone bricks, so that is repaired and replaced. Good stuff. And then we'll have another guy here like that, and that is actually the incorrect placement. That should be 1 block closer to us, and then that will power a block next to this guy. So if we fill that up, it immediately begins firing. So we know this works for sure, which is perfect. And I'm just trying to think, is that gonna prevent that? Shouldn't prevent that hopper from activating or being able to be to transport items. I don't know for sure though, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And then the next step will be for us to create a water stream. So we're going to have the items travel upwards and they're going to flow over the top of the room here. And that is how we're going to begin the filtering. So they'll probably come over the top of the room, maybe take a slight right so they can go over the top of the filter, which will be above the silo here. And then everything will finish up in this far corner of the room. Ooh, so I've just had a big issue that we need to solve pretty much right now if we want to continue. So water stream is going to go this way and it's going to finish right on this block, which will elevate the items above our farm here. But what do we need before an item elevator? That's right, we need ice. So it's probably about time we did something about that situation. And there we have it, our first access to ice. So this is fairly close to the base. I'll bring up my coordinates in just a second here. So we're about 1,000 blocks out on the x-axis and about 500 out on the z. I have no idea why I said 500. We're 500 blocks out. That's the way to say it. But yeah, this is one of those snowy tundra biomes, and of course that brings with it dangers such as polar bears. So I'll stay away from those guys. But it also brings ice in the oceans, and this is exactly what we're looking for in order to progress here. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time here harvesting some of this up, and then we'll get back over to the zombie farm and finish up work over there. Now let's not get fooled into having our ice melt. Let's make sure we use packed ice instead. And if you guys weren't aware that this is a thing, packed ice will never melt regardless of the situation you put it in. So we're gonna plonk that down right there. And then do we have our buckets on us? We do not. Here, I'm going to leave this block removed for now so that we can have easy access in and out. Should have a couple buckets hanging around somewhere. I know we have them. There they are. And we'll also use one of these fence gates as well. That will be the item that we use to block the flow of water, but that will still allow items to pass through. And I'm super glad now, guys, that I left that infinite water source there. That was a good move by previous me. Okay, so that will flow almost perfectly, right? Then what we'll do is have a fence gate here that is open. Now, if we toss items, you can see they actually pass through the fence gate and end up in the soul sand block. So we'll just try that again. We've got a small bubble column going on. Let's chuck a few items, and you can see they're sprung up by the soul sand. So this thing is currently working. All that we need to do now is to expand it upwards. And I'm probably going to expand it using stone brick once again, just so that if we're in the area and I kind of come across this large column of stone brick, I'm probably going to think to myself, maybe we shouldn't dig into that just in case it's something important, you know? Might save us some repair work in the future, I hope. Okay then, guys, so we're at a point now where we kind of need to start working on the silo system if we want to progress any further. So we're going to kick things off with some more of the polished basalt, a block that I really have enjoyed the use of in this room. I think it looks pretty, you know, it's pretty cool, right? Especially with the textures that we've got here. So we're going to lay down some of that now. We need to think about this because we're going to have a bar of the basalt going across the top there. So we should probably begin by laying that down just so we can kind of visualize where we're working. So that will be there. And then I think I'm going to go with the pillar that extends down to the floor again. And we'll have one of these either side of the 3-block wide gap that we've mapped out in the center of the room. So this is the 3 wide gap. And then we'll have another pillar which extends from the ceiling down to the floor in this space here. So once again, let's make sure we get that horizontal pillar in first. And then build the column. And that will come all the way to the floor here. And then I think, again, we'll have... oh, actually, you know what? This kind of makes things a little bit difficult because if we were to do that, then we'd have this weird space on the far side because there would need to be a column here for it to be equal. So how are we going to figure this out? Yeah, that is a really interesting one, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on this side we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, changed my mind. I didn't actually I didn't look at the room properly earlier when I was mapping this out. So what we're gonna do instead is we'll have a silo here that is 3 blocks wide. So it will fit in the center of these 2 pillars here. But then we're just gonna have to you know, sort of pad it out a little bit with some extra blocks. So the silo itself is actually going to sit one block back. Let's dive into this silo build, and I'm going to try and build as much of it as possible, you know, using my memory from building these in the past, but it's been such a while since I built one, guys. So bear with me whilst I attempt to get this right. So I think the way we go here is comparator into block, like so. And then we'll have something like this. I suppose we can leave this one in. And then I think it leads back on itself like that. So what we'll do from here is grab ourselves some redstone dust on that block. And then we'll use a repeater to accept the signal from this block and extend it. That will run into the back of a couple pieces of redstone. And then eventually we'll have a block there, which is going to be to the right-hand side of our lamp here. So anything that goes in that chest should light that lamp up. There we go. So we've got the first step right, and I always remember that being the most difficult step. So that should be making things a lot easier for us from this point out. So then I think we go with chest on top of here, like so. Does that look right to me? No, that looks incredibly wrong, in fact. Let's try that again. So we'll actually move this silo back by a block. Sorry, this hopper back. And then we'll put a chest in, I think. Yep, that looks a little bit more like it. So then we'll have our next redstone lamp. So that one will go right there. We'll have another block here and a block there. This block will again contain a comparator. So anything that goes into this chest should light that lamp up. Yep, there we go. Okay, it's working as intended so far. And then I know from this point out, it's kind of just a rinse and repeat method. So let's actually see what we've got in terms of crafting materials, because we're going to need a few more hoppers for the process. So one more hopper. So then again, as I say, it's kind of rinse and repeat from here. So once again, another hopper right here. And then we should clear out some more space. Now, I don't know how tall I'm going to make this thing. And you know what? I've placed that incorrectly as well. The hopper should actually go on the side there. And then we'll go double chest there, like so. And then from this point, again, you'll want to grab another lamp. So let's get a lamp on top, a block to the side of it. We'll have a block there so that we can place down our comparator. That comparator, again, will read the signal from the chest. So anything that goes into this chest will light this lamp up. Sweet. So the redstone aspect of the silo is pretty much in place. And I'll do a bit of explanation. So I think you guys understand what's going on here. Every single one of these chests will eventually be full as long as we keep building up items in the silo. And then each of them just kind of is read by a comparator to determine whether or not it has items in them. If it does, the respective lamp turns on. If not, it remains in an off state. And then at the back here, we've got a filter, which we actually do need to configure. So to configure that, I'm going to need 22 pieces of rotten flesh. So we've got 19, 20, 21, 22. 4 of them we're going to have to rename to filter or something. It can be, you can rename these to anything. I just like to call them filter because that is exactly their role in the setup. So we'll call these guys filter. There goes the anvil, unfortunately. We'll have to replace that again. And then what we'll do with these is, I think, where did they go? I think they go in this one right here. So you'll have 18 of the regular item in the first slot, 4 in the last 4 slots, and then anytime a piece of rotten flesh passes over this guy here. So as you can see, if I put dark oak logs in there, nothing happens. Redstone ore in there, nothing happens. Let me grab some flesh just to demonstrate here. But every time the flesh passes over that hopper, it should be accepted into the system, which is how the filter works. So wait, why have we got items in here? Oh, wait, what? Oh, why? And now nothing? Something's going wrong here. You know what's funny about this, guys, is that I'm actually referencing one of my old videos to build this. So if something goes wrong, I don't really have anyone to blame it on other than myself, but I think I've figured out one of our issues here. So the first issue is that the hopper actually needs to be facing into the comparator. Second issue is the filtering items actually go inside of this guy. So we'll have 18 rotten flesh and then of course the 4 filter items. So nothing can go inside of this hopper aside from rotten flesh. And when it does, it should just filter back down to the 18 that we had in there. So if we go down to the very bottom chest here, we'll see that we've got the excess rotten flesh down here. The filter is still intact and everything is working properly, which is awesome. exactly as I planned in the first place. Oh yeah, so the silo is I think it's done actually. It's pretty much complete, so we can just about access this bottom chest. All we need to do now is start running items over the very top hopper. So the lights here indicate the level of fullness of the system. So at the moment we're just on the first chest. Clear to see, one light is lit. Awesome, good stuff. On the far side, we've got this area. So what I'm going to do here is just pack in as many chests as possible and pretty much just have items flow in here that don't fit in that silo. So anything other than flesh. So I think we'll also go ahead and just replace the flooring here with some blackstone brick. Oh, wait. You guys are going to hate me for this, but I kind of have to do it just for the fun of it. Oh, feels bad. And the final one, did I get it? Yep, I totally got it. Be mad. Okay, let's make sure we get this blackstone down. Light that back up again. So this is just going to be a huge black box, pretty much. And then what we'll do is let's craft up some chests here. There we go, and a few more. And then what we'll do is we'll just stack the chests all the way to the ceiling. Something like this. Wait, should we go all the way to the ceiling? Yeah, let's go all the way to the ceiling, and then they will fill in each of these columns here. And then, as I say, we'll just have hoppers that run down the back and filter items throughout the system. All right then, guys, I think we should be functional, so why not give this thing a test? First of all, obviously you have to kill the zombies to make them drop items. So let's do the damage. Okay, start swiping away at them. And then we can already hear the dropper firing over and over again. Make sure everything gets in there. So we've got some boots going in, which is perfect. We've got a helmet, and most of all, of course, the rotten flesh. So we should see shortly that the rotten flesh starts to build up. Yep, there we go. And let's just make sure that helmet went through, and the boots. And the helmet and the boots should... uh-oh. That's not good. The helmet and boots. Oh, I can't open the top ones, of course. Yeah, this isn't good, though. The fact that we're getting flesh in here proves that the filter cannot act fast enough, which is a shame. We might be able to change that, though. Now, I need to also figure out where the helmet and boots are. They'll definitely be in there somewhere, but figuring out where is a different story. But anyway, how it works is that the items, of course, go up this water stream. I'm not going to show you all of the water streams that I've got positioned up there because that would be kind of tedious. But it kind of routes over the top of the room, so it comes over this way, and then round the back there, so it passes over the filter for this guy, and then it passes over a bunch of hoppers behind this chest wall here. And I kind of have figured that this chest wall, it's I don't want to say it, but it's kind of a huge waste of resources. We're never going to fill this up. Plus, it costs a bunch of wood, and there is a hopper behind each of these chests, so you know, very resource intensive and probably not necessary. But anyway, regardless of oh, okay, there are the boots. Boots and the helmet did eventually make their way in, which is good, but we are still having that issue with the flesh passing by. So I might need to try to slow down the flesh a little bit once it gets up to that stage, but that's something that maybe we could think about in another episode or off camera at some point. Maybe we should fix this as we are nearing the end of the episode here. So let's put this guy back like so, but at least it works to a certain extent. So before we finish up today, I need to put some slabs in above the top chest there, and I also need to make sure that this wall is not looking janky. So I'm now feeding all of the excess items that I built up from my time here back into the system, and I think I've solved the issue. So that one seems to be filling up, and okay, so there is one piece, so I guess they do slip through occasionally, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. You don't get a lot of overflow into these backlog chests here, which I'm happy about, and I've been checking. We need to get that stone out. I think, though, it's all good. It looks to me like most of the rotten flesh is now going into the silo where it belongs, which is perfect. Okay, we've got a piece there as well. So, yeah, I guess we're just going to have to deal with that. That every now and again it kind of... it might even be overflowing or something. I don't know. But, yeah, we'll work with what we've got here. It's totally okay. Did I notice that there was water dripping through there? Ooh, okay, we might have to figure that out as well. I don't like that. So make sure we remember to do something about that. I've also got a bunch of other items to go through, so let's start piling this in. All right then, guys. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today's episode. We finally have got some sort of storage solution here for the zombie experience farm, which is great. It isn't fully optimized, but I guess this is just going to be something for off-camera work. Maybe in the future we'll come back here and check it over once more, just to make sure that we are doing things as efficiently as possible and properly, because, as I say, sometimes the rotten flesh does skip over the filter here, which I think we might just have to deal with that, because I've tried to slow the items down as they pass, and I don't think... well, it definitely improved the situation, but didn't fix it. So, you know, unless you guys have got any suggestions, maybe we'll just leave things the way they are for the most part, and maybe fine-tune a few other areas if possible. But if you did enjoy today's episode, please be sure to drop a like down below. That would be much appreciated. Any questions, suggestions, comments, or feedback, also put those in the comment section. Make sure you leave some feedback on this system, as I say, if you've got anything to say about it. And finally, if you are new to the Hocus Pocus channel, then firstly, welcome. How's it going? Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. And secondly, please consider subscribing to stay tuned to this series and any other videos that we decide to post to the channel. So this is goodbye from me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.